Hello and welcome to Quick Maths with me, Bill Haining. In this session we are going to look at scale. So here is a typical level 2 type question you may face in your exam. A gardener wants to build this greenhouse in the top right hand corner of our garden, and you can see there's a sketch layout of our garden and the dimensions given for the greenhouse. She will leave a 50 centimetre space between the greenhouse and the edge of the garden. She wants a scale plan of the garden showing the position of the greenhouse. Draw a scale plan and put the scale you use onto the plan. Now let's work through this to show you how to resolve this question. Alright, now what you need to know before we talk about the grid dimension is the online graph lines are based on paper-based versions. So one square on the online graph paper is representative of 1 centimetre, and this is what it looks like. So you can see here that one of these little squares here has a square of 1 centimetre. So every one of these lines equals 1 centimetre. So that said, if you have 2 lines, that equals 2 centimetres. If you have 3 lines, that represents 3 centimetres, and so forth. Now that's you got the first part of your scale ratio. Okay, so let's look at scale. Okay, now if 1 centimetre, this little line here on the plan, represents 5 metres in reality, then you can see here that one of these little lines represents half a metre. Okay, and there's the scale for it. That's how it would look like in ratio form. So it would be 1 colon and then half a metre. Just means that this means on the plan and the 0.5 metre is the reality. That said, so you can see now 2 squares must equal a metre, and 3 squares must equal 1.5 metres, because you're just adding half a metre on each time you add another square. Okay, so you need to remember that you're not taught this, or you may not be taught this, that these grids actually, these little lines represent 1 centimetres on the plan. So keep that in mind when you try and answer the questions, and you'll see how it works in a second or two. Okay, so the gardener wants to build a greenhouse at the top right hand of our garden, and you can see now there's the graph paper and there's the given plan of the garden, and there's your given dimensions for the shed. And to finish it off, she will leave a 50 centimetre space between the greenhouse and the garden fence, and she wants you to draw a scale plan. Put the scale you use on the plan. So let's do that first. Draw your plan first, right? So we now know we're going to use 1 centimetre on the plan is equal to half a metre in reality. And we're using a half a metre as our guide because you can see the dimensions include half a metre, so it makes life easier to calculate. Now let's use this scale to firstly do a perimeter of the garden based on the sketch plan. Okay, now you can see here that on the sketch plan it says 5.5 metres, and we know that 1 centimetre equals half a metre. So if you start at the top here, there you go, there's your first half a metre, and 2 together is 1 metre, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. So you can see the line from here to here in reality is 5.5 metres. Okay, and then you do the same with the rest of the perimeter. Down the left hand side you can see that 5.5 has been represented, and this part of the scale plan is represented as 2.5 metres. And then the given dimensions on this part here is shown as 4 metres. Okay, but you'll notice on the plan here it doesn't give you this dimensions. You have to work this out yourself, and it's fairly simple. You just take 5.5, take away 2.5, and that gives you 3 metres. So this dimension from there to there must be 3 metres. And you do the same with this. 5.5 minus 4 tells you that this dimension must be 1.5 metres. So that's you now got the perimeter of the garden. You're now ready to insert your shed. Now remember, you must give your shed a 50 centimetre space between the edge of the garden and your shed. Now 50 centimetres, if you remember, is half a metre. So you just divide the 50 by 100 and you end up with 0.5. So the distance between the shed and the fence must be 1 centimetre on the plan because it's worth half a metre. Okay, so let's have a look at that. You do the exact same with the shed as you did with the scale. on the perimeter of the garden, and you insert your dimensions of the shed. You can see there 2.5 meters represented by 5 of these centimeters. Okay, and the distance between each two must be 2 meters because it tells you there that the greenhouse is 2 meters. Okay, so you insert that as well. So you can see now you have put your shed in the ideal position, because you can see there is a 50 centimeter space or half a meter space between the shed and the fence, and between the top of the shed and the fence all the way around. So that there is how you complete the perfect scale. And I hope that helped.